Good evening everyone, I'm Angel Kian E. Obero, Abyss Scream 2, Black B. For today's lessons, we tackle first about ethics. What is ethics? Ethics is moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. Also, the branch of knowledge that deals with moral principles. In addition, ethics is a system of moral principles. They affect how people make decisions and live their lives. Ethics is a concern with what is good for individuals and society, and is also described as moral philosophy. So we proceed to lesson 1. Why do you need to study ethics and the importance of rules? First, we define moral experience. Moral experience encompassing a person's sense that values that he or she then important are being realized or thwarted in everyday life. In addition, moral experience is a good way of action of the persons that can realize others, that helping other people is the way make or build unity of the community or a nation. So next, we discuss importance of rules to social beings. Human beings need norms to guide and direct their behavior, to provide order and predictability in social relationships, and to make sense of and understanding of each other's actions. Rules to social being is the way to realize the people that they need to make good actions in a community to avoid wrongfully actions to others or harm to others. So let's go in lesson 2. Moral versus non-moral standards. First, we define moral standards. There are a code of moral standards, a code of what is right or wrong without reference to specific behaviors or beliefs. With the moral standards is always tell the truth, do not destroy property, have courage, keep your promises. This is person that can broke your friends, family, and anything, or you love someone, because he knew what is right or wrong. Moral standards have 6 characteristics. First, moral standards involves behavior that seriously affect other people's well-being. It can either profoundly injure or benefit a person or persons. For example, lying, stealing, and killing are actions that hurt people while treating people with respect and kindness uplifts them. In addition, these moral standards is the action that violating the law because of example of killing, lying, and harm other people. Second is, moral standards take a more important considerations than other standards, including self-interest. We all know that moral standards know what's good or avoid wrong thing or actions around the community. For example of this, keeping secret of your friends that you can tell to someone or everyone about the secrets, because telling secrets to your friend, it is offend your friend and their facility damage and separate your relationships with your friends. Number 3 is moral standards do not depend on any external authority, but it how the person perceives unreasonableness of the actions. For example of this, you will not copy your classmate answers during the exam because you know what is wrong or good, because you have moral standards that you can tell yourself and believe yourself that you have a dignity to answer your own choice or make your own choice. 4. Moral standards are believed to be universal. Thus, when you truly believe an act is wrong, you also will not agree or consent when other people commit what you consider a wrongful act. For example of this, you believe lying is wrong because lying is not good, because it is offend or harm other people that not telling the truth beside them or front of them. Number 5. Moral standards are based on objectivity. This means what you consider right or wrong does not depend on whether the actions advance the interests of a particular person or group, but your action depends on a universal standpoint where everyone's interest is counted as equal. Number 6. Lastly, moral standards are associated with vocabulary that depicts emotion or feeling. For example of this, when you go against your moral standards, you will say you feel guilty, remorseful, and ashamed because you all know. Now we go to lesson 3, moral dilemma. First, we define dilemma. Dilemma is a thought choice when you are in a difficult situation and each option looks equally bad, you're in a dilemma. Example of this is when you only have 2 extra tickets to an event and 3 friends that want to go. That's an example of dilemma. There are 3 levels of moral dilemma. First, personal moral dilemma. The situation of this is you have your own choice, but the others, it is harm of your choice. That's why there are possibilities that make a chaos or debating with your friends or someone. Second is organizational dilemma. Is when a member or members of the organization is in a situation where there is moral conflict and the decisions will potentially harm either some members of the group or the entire organization itself. Third is structural moral dilemma. Is when a person or a group of persons who holds high level position in the society faces a morally conflicting situation wherein the entire social system is affected. An example of this level of dilemma would be controversy in the social security system in 2016. The SSS members have been asking for a 2,000 pesos SSS pension increase. Now, we go to lesson 4, freedom. There are philosophical insight on freedom. According to Gabriel Marcel, freedom is the ability to act significantly. Free acts are significant because they help to make us who we are as human beings. Freedom is not merely the ability to make arbitrary choices because we are not free if everything that we can choose to do is insignificant in the first place. Second is freedom is complementary to reason. One of the Aristotle ethical doctrines stated that freedom and reason are complementary. In Aristotle's view, the human person as a moral agent must exercise practical rationality in order to determine how to pursue his or her ultimate end. Third is freedom is absolute. Freedom is not the freedom to do something or anything. The human person is absolutely free. Freedom sets the human person apart from other creatures. You might say, but what about animal freedom? Animals, unless caged, are also free. Animals just roam around it when they need to and sleep where they want. Animals are not tied down with responsibility like human. This freedom is one limitless and manage your action because freedom needs and character of yourself, not do anything because it is damage your personality. Fourth is freedom demands responsibility, showing that you are free because he believe a person always has a choice. Thus according to Sartre, you must choose. His idea was the freedom is the capacity to choose, that even not choosing is a choice. It is important to note, however, that he also added a concept of responsibility to freedom. Now we go to chapter 1, the moral agent. Lesson 1 is how culture shapes human behavior. We define what is culture. Culture is a complex phenomenon. It contains nearly all aspects of shared human experiences. How does culture affect human behavior? Since human beings are naturally social creatures, we as a people are also naturally drawn to participate in culture. There are 5 elements of culture. First is symbols. Symbols can be anything that a group of people find meaningful. For example, in religious group, the cross is a symbol for Christianity, while the Christians is for Islam. Of this, we have any symbols, but we believe in one God and Abba. Second is language. Language is a complex symbol system that enable human beings to communicate either verbally or through writing. For example of this, Ilocano, Bisaya, Tagalog, and several others native languages were already spoken in free colonial Philippines. In some addition thoughts of this is language is the one that recognize other people that you are kind of Bisaya or a kind of a Filipino language. Third one is beliefs. Beliefs are assumptions or convictions held to be true by an individual or a group of people. For example of this, ancient civilizations attributed events to spirits and gods. The fourth one is values. Values are culturally acceptable standards of behavior. It is what a person considers important or beneficial in life. For example, in pre-colonial Philippines, there were evidences that women were equally valued and held central roles in society, just as did the men. The fifth one, or lastly, is norm. Norm is an informal guideline by a particular group of people or social unit about what is considered normal or incorrect social behavior. For instance, the Filipino norm in relating to other people, it is to get along with even with complete strangers. This Filipino traits is called pakikisama. Let's go to lesson 2, cultural relativism. We define cultural relativism is the idea that a person's beliefs, values, and practices should be understood based on a person's own culture rather than be judged against the criteria of another. That's the cultural relativism. Example of this refers to not judging a culture to our own standards of what is right or wrong, strange or normal. Instead, we should try to understand cultural practices of other groups in its own cultural context. So, there are advantages of cultural relativism. First is, it warns us from assuming that our preferences are the absolute rational standard. Second is, it teaches us to keep an open mind and to be more amenable and in discovering the truth. So, here we go to lesson 3, universal values. So, there are 3 universal values shared by all cultures are. First, caring for the young. Yes, we need to care young because they don't know what they do. Second is, murder is wrong. Yes, murder is defined and intentional, a wrongful killing of one or more human beings by a human being. Because we all know that killing someone is bad to our community or our nation. The third one is tell the truth. Yes, it is universal. Telling the truth is the one that to maintain forgiveness and trusting to one another's. So in the universal values, there are some different cultures. They are. The lesson 4 is the Filipino way. Dr. Patricia wrote that the strengths and weaknesses of the Filipino character are rooted in factors such as: first, the home environment. Second is the social environment. Third, culture and language. Fourth, history. Fifth, the educational system. Sixth, religion. 7, the economic environment. 8, the political environment. 9, mass media. 10, leadership and role models. There are 7 strengths of the Filipino character. First, pakikipagkapwa-tao. Second, family orientation. Third, joy and humor. Fourth, flexibility, adaptability, and creativity. Fifth, hard work and industry. Sixth, faith and religiosity. 7, ability to survive. And the weaknesses have 7 of the Filipino character. First is extreme personalism. 2, extreme family centeredness. 3, lack of discipline. 4, passivity and lack of initiative. 5, colonial mentality. 6, kanya-kanya syndrome. 7, lack of self-analysis and self-reflection. So, we get to lesson 5. How is moral character developed? So, we define first the moral character. Moral character or character is an evaluation of an individual's state moral equalities. The concept of character can imply a variety of attributes including the existence or lack of virtues such as empathy, courage, fortitude, honesty, and loyalty, or of good behaviors or habits that know all about what is good or wrong. So next and lastly is lesson 6, the stages of moral development. According to Lawrence Kohlberg, there are levels and stages of moral development. Level 1, free conventional morality. Judgment and this level is solely focused on the self. This line of moral reasoning is common among children, although some adults would also exhibit such behavior. Stage 1 is punishment, obedience, orientation. This is also called the free moral stage, where decisions and actions are determined by immediate physical consequence and not the true moral value. Stage 2 is reward orientation. As children grow older, they begin to see that there is actually room for negotiation because other people have their own goals to meet and wants the most be satisfied too. Level 2 is conventional morality. This level of moral reasoning is typical of adolescents and adults. Conventional morality is to reason in a conventional, something that is generally accepted manner. Stage 3, good boy, good girl orientation. At this stage, the child tries to seek approval from other people by living up their expectations. He or she also now understands the concept of loyalty, trust, and gratitude, as well as become interested in motives and intentions behind a particular decisions or action. Stage 4. Authority orientation. By this time, individuals have this reached adulthood and they usually consider society as a whole when making judgment. The focus at this stage is following the rules, maintaining law and order, doing one's duty, and respecting authority. Level 3 is post-conventional. This is also known as the principal level. It is marked by a growing realization that people are unique and are an independent part of the society. Also, the stage 5, social contract orientation. This stage means the individuals is aware that much of what is considered to be moral or good is mainly based on personal beliefs as well as on the social group they belong to, and that only a very few of the known fundamental values are actually universal. Stage 6 is principle orientation, the lastly. At this point, social contact takes a clear back set as the person makes a personal commitment to uphold universal principles of equal rights and respect. At this stage, an individual already has a principled conscience and will follow universal ethical principles, regardless for what the laws or the rules say. And that would be all. Thank you, everyone. Peace.